María Araceli.
Oh, it's still here.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So as Allison said, we stopped at all these different stops, and um, one of the things that I did when I read your book, I was able to connect with a lot of, almost the entire book, a lot of things that Julia goes through. So, and I know in the book there's a lot of different themes. And because I am a mental health therapist, former teacher, mental health therapist now, I chose to look at the book from a mental health perspective. So we talked in different points at different um, stops. I brought up things that a Mexican community experiences, and you did a fabulous job representing the Mexican community in a very realistic and respectful light, and that was very meaningful. So, with that being said, I'll ask a question or two, and then I do want the audience to please participate because I know you guys are all here for Erika as well. So, taking that, looking at it from a mental health perspective, and knowing that when it comes to mental health, culture can have both positive and negative impacts on someone's mental health. What impact does culture have on Julia's mental health throughout the story and the book?
Thank you. Well, that's a big question. So Julia, who is me but not me, is a girl who wants so much and who has a really vast imagination, mind. She's creative. She wants to be independent. She wants to be free. These are not qualities that are typically encouraged in a Mexican household for a woman in particular. We're not raised typically to be self-sufficient, or we're raised to serve others, right, and to always accommodate everyone. But Julia, she sees that and she doesn't want it. She rejects it, and that's what I did. And there were so many parts of being Mexican that I could not appreciate until later because I needed distance. I needed to go, become who I wanted to become. And while I was like in it, I resented so much those limitations. I resented that I was treated very differently from my brother, both brothers. I resented that I wasn't trusted, given freedom to explore and be myself, and I resented the church, and I still resent it. And it was because I felt stifled by it. I felt like in the church, women were always just sacrificing and I hated the way that my community treated queer and trans people. I like could not comprehend why it had to be like that. And so I had so much rage growing up, and I love that you've done this amazing thing of running to understand stories and running inspired by stories. I think that's so fucking awesome. And I wish I had that when I was here, because you know what? I used to hang out at parking lots with my friends to get away from our parents, because our parents were like so suffocating, and we just wanted to hang out and be free and not be scrutinized. And there was nowhere to go. And this library was not like this. It was very small. The people in charge were mostly white, and they were not very nice to us, and we didn't feel welcome. And I feel like a lot has changed, but I know that there are a lot of Julias out there still who are struggling, who want to be themselves, who want to, express their gender perhaps differently than it is allowed. And I write for them, right? I wrote this for me, and I wrote this for them because I needed something like this. And so to see everyone here so excited about my work, it means everything to me because that's exactly who I wrote it for. I wasn't writing it for publishers or for, the New York Times or whatever. I mean, thank you for the validation, but that's not what I was intending. It was like, this is for my people, and my people will recognize this. But going back to mental health is something that is is really precarious for young women, in particular young women of color, Mexican girls, because of all the things that I said. Not understanding the culture that their parents are trying to instill, not understanding like all the different expectations for them because we live in a different culture. We're in a different world as um, a lot of our mothers or our grandmothers, etc. And so I think that we need to talk about mental illness, talk about it in a very honest way, and I think that we need resources. It's and to destigmatize it for people as well, to be like, no, this is depression. Like, this is not you go to church and pray it away. This is an illness of the mind that could kill a person. And so I think we just need to have these conversations and seek um, people who understand our culture. I have a therapist who's Mexican American, like me, changed everything. I don't have to explain myself, like she gets it. She understands like the guilt and the trauma and the this, that, and the other. Um, and so I think that is really key. So what you're doing, I think, is really amazing. And I hope that a lot of young women grow up to be therapists for the same reasons. Like, this isn't this isn't fair. It's just not. And so, yeah, I mean, I could go on for days, so I'm gonna stop.
It's okay. We can hear for days. Listen to you for days. Do you want to ask? No, you can do it. I think,
Yeah.
and I think you touched a little bit on this already, but last question, and then I'll open it up to the public. What do you want? I I wrote young women, but I think it's women in general, regardless of what age you are, to learn from your novels, from your work in general. I know you have other really good pieces of books out there, and what's coming up.
Yeah. So now that I'm grown, I see things very differently. I have a lot more compassion for my mother, for my parents, for everything that they've been through and doing their best in a situation that was really hard. And so the resentment that I felt as a teenager is no longer. Like, I understand. And I think one reason is that I mean, there are many reasons, but recently I started working on a book about a woman in my mom's generation, and like asking these questions, these very tough questions. I interviewed a lot of women. I interviewed my mother. I tried to interview my grandmother, um, and it. I start to understand like why things were the way that they were, and that it wasn't, intentional. Like, that hurt. And so I I'm a mother now, and so I see everything differently, as you would expect. And I want women to see themselves. I want them to see the women in their lives in the books. I want them to relate to the content. I want them to laugh at all the silly things that I write. I want each book to be um, joyful despite all the trauma, because that's how we live, right? Mexicans, we know how to party, we know how to sing, and we really enjoy things, and so I want that to come through and to feel for the reader to feel like this is very familiar to me. And so yeah, my next project is very different. And it I can't really talk about it much because it gets I get in my head about it. But it, it it's the audience is older, you know older women, but like young women could read it and be like, oh yeah, that's my mom, like I understand my mom. And so I'm trying to like hit all the generations. Eventually, I'll get to the grandma, but it's gonna take me a while. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the audience.
Hey Erica, my name is Bianca. So I got into your book when Steppenwolf first announced that they were going to do a play. COVID during that.
It was a great play though for a month.
But your book is amazing. It's very visual. What's one scene that you're hoping that gets depicted the correct way that you want to see when it's in theaters?
Oh God, yeah. Well, an executive producer, so yeah, I have a lot of say. So it's one scene. The quinceañera scene that I see in every play. There's been 4 productions now. It's always hilarious and sad and weird, and she's so uncomfortable, and like that. I love that tension in in that chapter. And so yeah, I would love to get the quinceañera, just like all the detalles and stuff like that. I never thought about that before. I'm like, I want the whole thing to be good. But yeah, it's been a slow process, and I'm on year 7 of it. Yeah, and there's just so many holdups, and like one thing happens and another thing happens and someone gets sick and then whatever. It's just I know it in my heart that it's coming, um, and we still have a contract, so it is coming. But I guess excellence takes time.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Okay.
Hi, Erica. My name is Michelle Ramirez. I have two, and you can answer however. So, you mentioned you're a mom. I am 10 months into my motherhood journey.
Oh,
So,
congrats.
thank you. So, question one is how do you, I'm working on reintegrating my writing now with like 1,000 more responsibilities,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So, how do you balance that as a mom? Um, and then the second question, is there any like mentoring programs or something for rising authors?
Mm.
I have a book, shameless plug, here in the library, but it's something very personal, right? It started very personal, and so it's like it's just like me and my little libro, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to like really dive into it, but like where do I have to be plugged
Ooh.
in?
Well, motherhood for me is so different from motherhood for my mother.
Yeah.
And um, I see all the privileges that I have now, because I mean, compared to what she had, I'm like living the dream. I have access to an excellent daycare. Um, my my child is happy there. She's safe. I have my parents who help. Um, they're they're gonna watch my daughter while I go to Denver to see a play, um, the Mexican Daughter play, the latest production. Um, and my husband is also like the most supportive partner I could have asked for, and so he he does all the work. Like not all the work, but he does a lot of work. And the thing is, like I saw how he was as a father before we got married and had a baby, and to see the way that he cares for his children, like that really did it for me. I'm like, let's do this. I'm all in. And so his support as well, family, friends, just everybody. I have a community, and I get to write in my attic for most of the day, and no one messes with me. And then I have to go get my daughter, and then we have a lovely evening, and so like I'm able to have that part for myself. And the reason that this has happened is I really had to fight and fight and fight for it. And also it wasn't just that, it was like also some an element of chance. Like I just never imagined that my books would do as well as they have. And so I have this like really nice setup, but for so long I was crying in the bathroom a lot because I wanted to be a writer and I had to work and I had to do this and I had to do that. And I hated all of it. I just wanted to be a writer, to be left alone. And so I would just find times to write during my lunch breaks, during work, things like that. Because or people would invite me out. They'd be like, "Let's go get beers after work," and I would say, "No, I have to go write." And they would always give me shit about it, and it worked out pretty well. So you just have to like really dedicate yourself to your craft and to learn from other writers and other books. As far as mentorship, I just kind of collected mentors on the way, building community, trying to like um, you know connect with other Latinx writers like me. And as far as a program, I think that's an excellent idea. I think there's one. There are like fellowships that you can do. There's one in the Bay Area, or at least there was, called VONA, and then there are other sort of there's Canto Mundo. That's another organization. So you got to get in touch with the organizations and start meeting people like that. Go to conferences, blah blah blah. There's no like simple way to do it. It's just a lot of hard work and persistence, and they're not like dying to give book deals to brown women typically, and so you have to like just keep going. And regardless of what the white establishment might think of you, you have to just be true to yourself and to your community, because I assume that you're also writing to your community. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Yeah.
Other questions?
Hi, Erika. Violet, I have a comment and a question. My comment was, when I read your book for the first time, I laughed a lot, but I cried very hard. It shook a lot of hidden feelings out, and I was like, this is like too much, but it reminded me of so many things that I went through, a lot of parallels. And that started my inner child work, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it is. So I knew about it before I knew what it was called. And your book kind of kicked that off. So thank you for that.
It's amazing.
With that, I've been able to face things that I had just been like, oh, I gotta just bury that, right?
Yeah.
And it's helped me grow as an adult, It only took 47 years.
Yeah.
But now I feel like a grown-up. So thank you. And my question is, did you do any inner child work? Did it ever come up? Or was that book a creation of you facing you?
I think, yeah, every book that I write is me facing myself, and I have done a lot of work in many different ways, like through therapy, so much therapy, through meditation, through you know writing these books is always a catharsis for me. I change deeply with each book, and I I also it was kind of triggering too because I didn't. There were a lot of things that I hadn't thought about, and then I start writing a scene and I'm bawling. I'm like, what is happening to me? Um, but I I'm so glad that it's been so illuminating for a lot of people, and the fact that you started to do this work as a result, like that's incredible. And I commend you for that because it's easy to I don't know if it's easy, but a lot of us sometimes want to just bury everything and keep going. And the thing is, like, that stuff doesn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's still there. And I see that in older women that I know. I'm like, I could see that you're traumatized and you have not confronted that and done the work. And it really is sad because like so many women in our community experience like just unspeakable traumas in many different ways. And they get no support, and then they have to take care of a bunch of people and be strong and go work. And so yeah, it's a lot. But I feel like the truth is always the most important thing. And so if you feel something inside you, like this part of my childhood was not right, for instance, like you have to confront it and talk about it, and in a therapeutic setting, I would suggest. But also, I'm like getting into curanderismo because that's something that has been dismissed a lot, and I myself have dismissed it when I was younger, and now I'm like, there's a lot of knowledge that we hold, and plants. Of course, plants are incredible, and they can heal us, but it's often dismissed as like brujeria or whatever, and it's not. It's science, and it's also care, and ritual, and all these like beautiful things. And so I'm getting into my witchiness real hard right now, and I want to learn so much more about it. So if anyone has any recommendations, please. I'm really excited about this chapter in my life because I feel like I've discarded any sort of worry or any sort of allegiance, any sort of connection, as best as I can, to white supremacy, to systems that are harmful. And so, yeah, I keep getting scarier, I think, and I like that.
One more question. One more. Okay, here. So I don't have to walk that far.
Hi, Erika. My name is Renee, and it's just a comment, not even a question. Sure. I love your book. I've had it for years, and when everybody asks me, what's a good book to read? It's my number one. But a couple weeks ago, my niece called me, and she lives in Denver. And her mom was like, oh my God, we just saw this amazing play.
Yep.
You have to see it. And her mom's like, it's the perfect play for a mother and daughter to go to. They have to do it as a mother-daughter thing. It's just amazing. They loved it so much that they are going back again Saturday.
Oh my God. I'll be there Sunday for closing, actually. Yeah.
I was supposed to go this weekend, but it's changed. I'm going next weekend. I missed your play.
Oh no.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on a well-run place.
Yeah.
And you needed a book referred to your kitchen.
Yeah. Wait. What's it called?
Sastun.
Sastoon.
Okay.
S-A-S-T-U-N.
Where do I find this?
Amazon.
Okay.
I actually ordered one from Amazon and it had, I think the author was Rosita Arvigo.
Okay.
She's an herbalist.
Okay.
And it's her story about being in the Mayan rainforest, in the jungle, and learning all this. It's great. It's a great book.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
It is
Thank
a
you.
great book.
I think we're okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Buckle up. Okay, so I'm gonna take a photo of them and Laura from Los Amigos books, and then I'm gonna put Regina. Regina, I don't know where you went. Sorry, she's just a chair there. But if Regina hears this and she comes back, I'll have her screen. I'm gonna do a group photo of them, and then Erika, if you need to like go to the bathroom and do what you need to do. But Erika agreed to sign books. And I'll have you back there. But before we take the group photo, real quick, the library has a little gift for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh.
And the library is so grateful you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh my God, can I open it? Ooh. Treats.
Petty.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
Cute. Everyone go,
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. And then, so can I have Laura? Where'd you go? Okay. Okay, Regina, we're doing a little photo. So smile. Would you hold the computer? Yeah. And then Magaly and Brandon, would you get in there with Erika? Thank you. And then we're just doing this because then we're gonna do a raffle. So that's why maybe you all sit and watch.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Okay,